Hello, hello. We're back from Thanksgiving. I had a good Thanksgiving. Did you? If so, tell me about it. If not, tell me about it. As for what we're doing today, I want to dive in on it because last time we took a little bit long, and this is very similar. I was talking with a friend of the channel, WeFormer, yesterday about birria. And the topic came up to she doesn't eat beef. So can we do I didn't make beef birria last time, but can we do chicken birria? So let's go for it. I've still got a lot of these dried peppers. Still got a lot of dried peppers. So we're in part, I want to use up some of my dried peppers. Also, there was chicken on sale today, so I got chicken. So we're not breaking the bank on anything. So that's the plan today. So it's very similar to something we recently did. Also, we're going to see if I learned anything from our recent birria, because I know I did some things that I should have done differently, like when I got to blending the sauce. So we're changing some stuff, and then I'm not gonna do a fusion thing. We're actually gonna go for a normal thing, which is strange. I did the fusion thing first, and then we're doing the normal thing second. But that's how we're doing it. So I've got a pan on the stove. We're just going to start heating it up blank so I can do some dry toasting. I used the nonstick last time, and I think that was a mistake. So this time we're going to use the sticky pan. Otherwise, so we're going to get that guy hot to start with. Otherwise, let's start prepping up our peppers and various other spices. Only got one ancho left. A couple of seeds. We will have to repurpose that jar, which is fine. I already have something to put in it. Take out some of our nice big guajillos. A couple of arbol. And I'm going to throw in one of these. I don't know what this pepper's name is, but we're going to throw it in there. And that's the. So we're going to start by doing what we did before and dry destem them. Because we don't want the stems. Oh, and that stem tears out pretty neatly. So we're going to take the stems off for anybody who still has their stems. And we're going to dry toast these by themselves this time. I'm actually going to start with the guajillos, which should be, brittle enough that I can just break them. Last time I put the cumin in the pan with them, and I think that was one of the mistakes I made. Because the cumin and the peppers toast at different rates. So, instead of that, I'm going to just do all the peppers now, get them in there, and then I think I'm probably not going to toast the cumin. I don't know that it did much of anything. We're going to try to get as many of the things in this one pan as possible, too. I have a bad habit of grabbing lots of pans. Okay, the ancho is a little bit more leathery and less brittle. So I am just going to chop that one up with a knife here. And then scrape the whole shebang in to our thing. So if you're on my Discord, you may have seen, I just got a new camera. Now it hasn't been hooked up yet. It literally just came today, and I didn't want to hook it up and risk it not working. So tomorrow I'm going to try hooking it up on my own time and get everything working. So hopefully it will be in action soon. It arrived early. It was supposed to arrive on Thursday, and it arrived. Obviously, today is much earlier than Thursday. We're going to get out our spices as well while our peppers are getting toasty. And we will use our nose to, they're not going to look like anything, so we're going to get away from there. We'll use our nose to tell us when those are done. And I'm just going to eyeball these. Garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, and cumin. I don't remember what all goes into this. We need some fresh garlic too. How much fresh garlic have I got? Quite a lot, it turns out. Oops. Drop it on the floor, why don't you? Quite a lot. We're gonna need some fresh garlic. That can go in this guy, I suppose. I want to chop up an onion. I think I want to supposed to chop up an onion into the pot. I don't remember how much I used last time, and I don't have a recipe up right now. We're just kind of remembering. So I'm going to grab around half of the head, which on this one comes to 5 cloves. That should be nice and garlicky. Let's peel them with the tube. They all got themselves started peeling without the tube. Oop. Okay, I said we're following our nose, but what we're doing is we're following our lungs, because I just inhaled and I got a little bit pepper gassed from these guys here. So I'm going to call them toasted. We're going to turn that off. We're going to get them in the pot. Oh, so I don't gas myself out of the kitchen. Oh, man, that got quick. Oh. Oh, I got to moisten. Thank you so much. I need it. Oh. Moist. Oh, oh, whew, that one got me. Okay. Yeah, I, I mean, there's a couple of hot peppers in there, so that's what's doing it. Hot pepper smoke. Okay, I am. Let's see. I don't think I need to do anything else with these guys. Where's my little knife? We're going to take the little nubs off the bottom, the little hard part, which will turn into the root if you let it. That's where the roots come out when you plant a clove. But I think I'm just going to crush them flat. We're going to need to get out of a big knife eventually. We're just going to flat crush them. And then they can go into the pot as is. Oh, man. Sorry. Excuse me. I don't do a revisit like this very often, especially not this close after the original. So I'm curious to see how things are going to go. Ooh. For one thing, I think we may have gotten a more effective toast on our on our peppers. I have an onion that's going sprouty, so I guess I'm going to use it. This one here. Why am I looking at the countertop? We should be over here. We have this onion that's going sprouty, so I guess I'm going to use it. When they go sprouty, they start to go a little bit soft in the middle and shrivel up a little bit. So we're gonna. I'm not even gonna use the top. We're just gonna. In fact, our onion here has cleaved internally, and there's the soft spot. Okay. So we're not even going to get to use the whole onion. Parts of it are going to go. Ooh, yeah, parts of it have gone off. So definitely just kind of aggressively cutting away anything that looks a little bit gnarly. So what's everybody up to today? On this, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Okay. This onion was in there while I was gone for the holiday, and evidently it was right on the cusp when I left because it's a little bit gnarly right now. We are going to. Wow, my nose is running. I really went hard on that. We're just going to toss those directly into the pan, into the pot there. I've got the magic pot on standby receiving all these things because we're magic potting it up again. You can see it if you want. In fact, I should bring it over here so you can see as I add stuff to it. We've got our peppers, we've got our onions. I'm going to throw in our onion powder, our garlic powder, our oregano, our crushed up garlics. By crushed up, I mean just flat smashed. Our cumin, I don't want as whole seeds. We had whole seeds last time because we toasted it. This time, I don't want the whole seeds. And my grinder is wet because I just washed it out because I used it yesterday to grind a cumin, actually. So I could have left it, but Oh well. Let's get to grinding. I'll slow down a little bit once I've got all the stuff in there. I should not be doing this on top of the cutting board. Cutting board slides around. Okay. Freshly ground cumin in the pot. And we have a bit of chicken broth left from our Thanksgiving. I'm going to start us off with some, because I know I'm going to need some. I'm going to start us off with some just to get all those dry things starting to hydrate and infuse and such. We're going to keep the grinder handy. We're going to keep all the spices handy, actually, because we're going to need all of them again. And we are going to move the board away. That's low sodium broth. Low sodium, so I need to keep that in mind as I go, that we're going to have to add our own salt, or potentially it'll be salty enough, who knows. But the next step is going to be our chickens. And are you still too hot to touch? Not entirely. I wanted, as I said before, I want to get everything in one pot if possible. So we're going to use this, or as few pans as possible. I'm reaching for an extra pan at every stage. So I'm going to use the one we just used for the peppers to sear off our chicken. So magic pot can just, the magic pot's going to actually sit next to it there, because those burners aren't hot, right? Right. Oh, that burner's hot because I put a hot pan on it, so it's the heat from the pan conducted into the cold burner. That explains it. I was wondering why that back burner was hot, but not like really hot. It was just like warm. Yeah. So what we have here are bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. The thighs are fattier part of your chicken. Oh, there it is. Checking for that thing, the little absorbing pad that goes on the bottom of these. And we're leaving them bone in and skin on. I'm not sure about the skin. I'm not entirely sure that's leaving the skin on is a good idea. But I want to at least give it a shot and sear off the skin. Wash my hands. We're going to put the skin into the hot pan with some oil. I am gonna oil the pan. Shouldn't touch the chicken right away. Should oil the pan first, and I wouldn't have had to jump around here. So pop over. I'm hoping to render out some of the fat that's in the chicken's skin, and also get some color on the skin, because we're not going to be able to get that in the steamy thingy. But I want some extra oil. First of all, to get the pan started. Second of all, because I'm going to need the oil in the pan for the beans, because we're making beans too. Because I can never make just one thing. Because never can I ever just do the one thing. So we're going to get that started. Do you think 4 chicken thighs is enough? That's the question. It's more weight than we had with the pork steak when we did it the other time, but that didn't have a bone in it. These have bones in them, which is upping the weight a bit. This is 1.5 pounds of chicken. Well, it's a little bit less than 1.5 pounds. So I'm hoping that makes a difference for the bones. Chicken bones aren't extremely heavy, on account of being bird bones. I don't know. I just actually don't know. We're also using the stainless pan here because then I can use my metal clippers and metal scraper in it. Even though we run the risk of a bit of stickage, the metal tools should let us really get in under it. Yeah, and I'm considering juicing up our mix here with some of the leftover birria from last time, which I still have, which I'm still working through. I've been eating it pretty much every day, but you don't need very much of it because it's quite potent. I guess I will cross that bridge when I come to it. Oh, boy, I really gassed myself. Let me pull up a chicken birria. Oh, acid. That's right. You're supposed to put some acid in the pot. Last time we didn't use cider vinegar because it didn't have any. Oh yeah, and cinnamon. I forgot about that too. Just like last time, I'm just gonna chuck a whole cinnamon stick in there. Coriander and clove as well. Less sold on those. Didn't I have a half of one? I don't know. Cinnamon. Half a stick. I think our pan is hot because our cinnamon started bubbling when it hit the oil. Which we don't want. But we're going to take that as a sign that we can put the chicken in. Which I'm going to use the tongs for so I don't have to wash my hands immediately. Good sizzle, nice hot. And then we rotate it so that the oil sort of drifts to the other side on my slightly sloped stove. Coriander. Okay, I can grind up a little bit of coriander and a little bit of pepper. While the this board, which I almost just put stuff on, is chickeny, as is this knife. So they have to go away, or anything else goes on there. Okay. I did forget about the coriander. Oops. So it is a good thing I pulled up a reference to check. And I forgot about the cinnamon. And this one wants cloves. I guess we'll put 2 cloves in here. A small number of cloves in here. Cloves are pretty strong. I don't want to go nuts on the cloves. Okay. And then that powder is also going to join our magic pot. And we keep the grinder handy. We're going to need it again. We're also going to push all the stuff in the magic pot to the edge so that when we get to the point of adding the chickens, they can all nestle toward the middle. Speaking of chickens, how you doing, guys? Are you stuck? A little bit. Little bit. That's actually not a ton. Which is fine by me. I am going to give each one a flip because there's some skin on the other side. But I think we're going to flip them back after this because the browning on the skin side is more important. Come on. Stop sticking to the spatula. I don't want to splash myself. I've done that too many times on this very show. Okay. Okay, so the chicken skin is developing a little bit of color. That's what I wanted mainly, was to color up the skin. Ooh, an ad approacheth. I tried something different when I started, and I don't know if anyone noticed, I don't know if anyone was here, but I played the ad, instead of waiting for the ad to organically start, I smashed that play ad button as soon as I hit go live. Just to speed up the opening by a minute. Really not much. I can see, I don't know if you can see, probably doesn't quite come through, but the chicken rendering into the oil on the pan. So we are going to have some chickeny oil, which is good. It's going to give us some flavor when we come back to use that oil for our beans. And I just checked, I do have beans. That would have been problematic. I'm actually low on canned beans. We're not making beans from scratch because I would have to have either started them yesterday or used the pressure pot, and the pressure pot is going to be in use doing the chicken. So we're starting with canned beans and making our own refried beans from there, which is my favorite way to make refried beans at the moment. I used to buy the canned refried beans. Yeah. I used to buy the canned refried beans. And then one day, I wanted refried beans for something, and I didn't have any of the canned refried beans. But I had canned regular beans. So I went ahead and I made my own refried beans with them, and they were so much better than the canned refried beans. For one thing, I could control the consistency, so I didn't end up with this gluey paste. But also, they tasted so much better. So that became my go-to method for refried beans. Just buy canned whole beans and refry them. I think that's our ad. Not quite. Almost. Oh. Wow. God. I need like an air filter for the room here. It wasn't even like it was smoke. It was just like hot pepper gas. Oh, yowza. Um, Oh, okay. So we have just a moment, because I ran my ad a moment early, where we have pre-roll ads going, and now it's over. So that's what happened by running the ad a minute early. We have just a couple of seconds of underlap. Underlap. Failure to overlap. Oh. So as soon as these look like they shouldn't stick at this stage, or maybe they will. As soon as these look like they're brown enough on the skin side for my liking, which I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for brown enough. I don't know what's going to happen to the skin when we put it in the pressure cooker either. Uh, I just know that I want this to be cooked to the point where it disintegrates, where we can really shred it apart. The skin might come apart and it might turn into a flabby mess that we have to get rid of. I know pork skin turns into a flabby mess. Chicken skin is much thinner, so they sure are trying to stick. That's a much nicer color. I'm actually going to yeah. I'm going to say that that is enough for what I'm looking for. I want to get this guy started, and it's clearly already been a half an hour because the ad break happened. Oh, I lost some skin right there. Okay. Okay. That one's the perfect one. Okay. 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 I did that during the ad. No, I didn't. The ad stopped. So there's some stuck-on skin in our pan, which is fine. Our volume of oil looks around right. We're going to take that off the heat. We're going to show off our this, but we're actually going to come back over with it. So this is all of my ingredients now in here. We just need to add liquid to bring this up for a braise. We are going to kill, and that should hopefully be just the right amount. I want them to poke up, but not. They need to poke through the surface, but be mostly immersed. That's our goal for the quantity. And we're going to get that cinnamon stick and kind of nestle it in there. And hey, why not? Let's throw a bay leaf in there. I'm told that they do something. My bay leaves are really small. We're going to throw 2 in there because they're really small. I'm told that they do something in stews. I have very few bay leaves left. Okay, and then this guy. Oop. We're going to almost out of MSG too. We're going to give the whole thing some MSG. We're going to kill my jar of MSG. We're going to get this guy in the magic pot, get him started, and then we can move on to other elements. Okay, magic pot. Power. Lock the pressure pot. Find the instruction. 4. I gotta think of the sous vide mode. We gotta do a sous vide. Although those are the opposite. They take longer, so that might be an all-day project. Pressure cook. Chicken thighs. 20 minutes. Quick release. Okay. It's set 20 minutes. Start. Make sure the valve's in the right spot. Yes, it is. Okay. You guys can't see it. I'll try to catch it on the camera. There he is. We'll try to catch it on the camera when we release it, because releasing the big cloud of steam is always fun. But now we're on to nice casual. Oh, actually, no, we're not a nice casual, because I need some rice. Or rice noodles. I did rice noodles in a burrito yesterday, and it was really good. So we could actually cheat and make a rice noodle burrito. That could be fun. But white rice, oil, garlic, onion, tomato bouillon granules, which I have honestly looked for hard, and I don't know where you get that. Salt, carrot, peas. Isn't there paprika in Mexican rice? Find one that doesn't have a bunch of peas in it. That's not what I think of. Tomato bouillon. It's the same. Caldo de tomate. Apparently that's a thing you can buy. Why does no store around me have it? They have the kind with the chicken added. Okay, well, I am gonna have to pull out a second pot because, or can I use this one? It has chicken. Hmm. 20 minutes. So it's around the same amount of time we need to go in the other thing. I'm gonna go in its own pot. We're gonna save that pan. We're gonna get out a fresh one. So we are gonna end up with another pan. Started on the same front burner, and I think everything's gonna be built over here in the pan. So we're getting out a second pan because I want one that I can put a lid on and set to the back. Oh, but doing it with the chicken schmaltz would be so perfect. No, I'm committing. I'm committing to it. I gotta. Only one of these two guys gets the chicken drippings. They can't both have the chicken drippings. And I think the beans will be easier to work with in the big pan. So cup of dry rice in the pan dry. Put the rice to the side. And the oil that I knew I was supposed to have put in there and didn't. So oil in the pan before the rice. Put it in before you put the rice in. 2 tubs of oil. There. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this around now, because the point is that the rices are covered in oil when they're exposed to the heat from the bottom. This one, okay, I have a recipe. I have the recipe up from Yellow Bliss Road. No idea what the reference there is, except there's a lemon in their logo. So something with lemons. The other one had peas and carrots in it, and that did not feel very basic. So I went with a more basic one. We're going to heat that until the rice starts to develop a little bit of brownness. And I'm going to prep all my other ingredients and just set them next to it. We want preheated water. So I'm going to just run my tap hot and get some hot water. Which takes a little bit extra time in the winter because the pipes are colder. There we go. We just don't want ice cold water. I think we don't want to shortcut or stall the cooking so much. So we're just going to set that next to it, ready to go. We're going to get our ingredient bowls. As mentioned, I don't have just tomato bouillon, which this asks for, and so did the other one, which means it exists. I just can't find it. But I have caldo de tomate con pollo, which is tomato bouillon with chicken. Which should be fine for our purposes. There's chicken in every other part of this. I picked this up because I was really looking for tomato powder, and the next best thing I thought I could find was tomato bouillon, like a tomato soup base. But even that I couldn't find. It was weird. Tomato powder. Now this just says chili powder, so I'm going to assume cayenne is fine and go with some cayenne. Might end up too spicy, who knows? Because I don't have a thing that's just labeled chili powder. What I have are various different types of powdered chilies. Being unable to find tomato bouillon, actually we should have used, and it's too late now, I already scooped it out. We could have used my homemade tomato stuff, because I made that because I could not find just tomato bouillon. And garlic. We're going to get out another clove from our head, and we're going to put it in the pan there. We're going to mash it into the pan there to get everything a little bit garlicky. Why am I peeling it without the tube? We can actually give my new garlic masher, which I showed off but didn't use, a test drive. I can hear the rice starting to cook. It's just got a very gentle crackling to it. So we're going to give it a stir and see if we're browning. So this guy with the removable little thingy, and we just put our garlic in there and wow, that's such a good little garlic smasher. Boy, if they all worked like this one, I would have used garlic smashers all along. And it's actually relatively clean afterwards as well. There's not much left in there. Obviously, there's a few little bits, but compared to my other one, dang. Dang. Well, first outing for the garlic smasher, extremely pleased. But we are going to add a little bit of garlic powder as well. Because it does different things for you. So, garlic powder. Tomato soup stuff. Hot powder. Get everybody stirred around. Now you're supposed to also add tomato sauce, which is not clear what exactly that means. I assume not Italian tomato sauce. Four to 8 ounces. How big is that little square dealie that I had, if I still have it? The little box. Our pressure thing just hit pressure. This is 7.4 ounces. 4 to 8 ounces. I guess we'll just use this. Because all it is tomatoes, garlic, and onions, so it's not like it's full of Italian spices. So I guess we'll just use this thing. I tried using this as a tomato sauce for pizza, as a pizza sauce at one point. The packet, I like the packaging. I like these little small doses. It's kind of boring flavor by itself. It definitely needs to be cooked into something and not just used as is. I think that was the mistake with it. So we're going to use it here, assuming that this is what it's meant for. Because again, it's got no basil, it's got no nothing in it aside from tomatoes, salt, starch, onion, cayenne, and garlic. So it's I don't know. Boy, and it does not like to open. The little pull tab does not really work. But let's get it in there. Get as much of it out of the box as we can. Okay. Okay, and with that in there, we're no longer toasting the rice at all, so I'm going to just go ahead and add our water. Stir thoroughly to combine. Put our back burner on. Should have had that on. Oop, not that one. Back burner on. That was the front burner. Okay. Now this should add all the things, simmer for 20 minutes. Fluff. So I'm going to take it off of that burner, put it on that back burner, and it can simmer with the lid on low until hopefully we need it. If this works out, that little box of tomato sauce was actually like 50 cents. Real cheap. So if this is in fact the use for that, I may grab some more and then I can make Spanish rice whenever I want. Quickly clean up my workspace. Okay, return the chickeny one to the front. And guy's a little bit too bendy for this. But I want to dislodge the stuck-on skin bits. But I think they'll incorporate well into the beans. But it'll be harder to scrape them off after I've got the beans in there. Okay. And then I'm going to we want all that oil in there. Because in this case, the oil is not just a cooking medium. We need it to incorporate into the beans to get that refried bean consistency. So, heat back on. Open up our beans. Oh, yeah, and we don't want the bean. Okay, now you're supposed to save the bean juice because if your beans are too thick after you're done refrying them, you add a little bit of bean juice to loosen them up. So I guess we'll save the bean juice, but we don't need all of the bean juice, and we often don't need any of the bean juice. It doesn't have to be the bean juice. You can use any liquid. You could use chicken broth. You could use, probably not alcohol, something water-based. And then we throw our beans stuck to the bottom a little bit. We throw our canned beans in the pan. They need to cook a bit because they need to be extra soft for mashing. And also we want to infuse some more flavors. So I'm going to get them all nice and spread out for surface area. And then we're going to start throwing powders on them. Pretty much the same ones we just did. Which is why I said we should leave them out. Onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, I have to grind some more cumin. We don't need a ton of cumin, but we definitely need some for these to taste real beany. Spicing up your beans is an inexact science. They're just kind of throw spices at them until they taste nice. I want some chipotle on mine, and we're going for smoky, so let's throw in some smoked paprika and some black pepper. Okay, and cook these until they start to sizzle. We really want to actually pretend like we're frying the beans. Sauteing the beans. Don't forget to rinse out your recyclables before you throw them in the recycling, because you can't recycle something that's covered in food goop. Okay, the rice, the chicken, the beans. We're not making my own tortillas. We have those on hand. I know. Lame, but you gotta cut corners somewhere. We're bubbling, so I'm just gonna stir in all of our spices, get it really infused. The last thing, I'm just going to make a small amount of this. So I want a small red onion on the small side of my small red onions. We're going to let those beans sizzle away for a little bit on their own. I like having some texture in my burrito personally, and when you've got stewed meat and rice and beans, you don't get a lot of texture. Those are all just soft things, unless you undercook your rice. And then, in which case it's crunchy. So I'm making a little fresh salsa just so there's something a bit fresher and a bit crunchier in the mix. And we're also going to put in, oh, I forgot to put the acid in the birria. Oh well, it's literally too late now. It's pressurized and locked. Can't be done. Why are you guys so hard to peel? Oh God, I gotta think about tomorrow. Tomorrow, my friends are having a Friendsgiving. I haven't committed to bringing anything, and that would be a shame since I'm now Mr. Chef over here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I should bring something. We need a bowl. I'm gonna make probably too much of this stuff. And it's gonna look like a really weird sort of mix because it's going to be a lot more onion compared to other ingredients than it really should. But that's because this is only intended to go inside of the burrito. Remove the pith, depith the pith. Don't really care about a few seed stragglers, they will be fine. I care more about that piece of pith since this is going in raw. The pith does not taste so nice. There's going to be straggler pepper seeds throughout everything because the birria has a lot of pepper seeds in it, so I'm not really worried about a few little stragglers here. We do want to mince everything down into roughly the same size pieces. I'm going to have more of this than I need as well, just because there's... that was the smallest red onion I could find, and this is the smallest... or not smallest. This is the standard jalapeno. I could probably have found an extra small one if I really wanted to. Wait till you see the next part, because it's just one tomato. We're in the realm of things don't get much smaller than this. I can't make a smaller batch. And I drop some on the floor just for good measure. Oh, I have to sweep because I only found one of them and I heard two of them land. And one tomato for some fresh tomato to counteract the cooked up tomato. This will lend some freshness and some brightness to our burrito, and I need to check if I have a lime. If I have a lime, we're going to juice a lime in here as well. If not, oh well. I think I have some lemon juice. We're going to take the little stemmy bit off. And there you go. This is a quick, easy, very onion heavy fresh salsa. Fresh salsa. Okay. Let's pop back over and look at the beans. They should be starting to stick to stuff, and oh, they stuck a little bit too hard. Okay, I'm gonna deglaze the pan with some ordinary water. Oh, it smells really good. We're gonna deglaze the pan with some ordinary water. Not too much. That's half a cup of water. And we're gonna get the scraper back because I don't want any of this stuff to stay on the bottom now. You can't really see it, but you can feel the texture of that stuff that's stuck to the bottom with the edge of the scraper and how it smooths out once it's just bare metal. Okay. And that's another reason to have a all metal pan. You can scrape down if something does stick like that. You could never do a really hard dig in scrape like that on a nonstick. You would just gouge up the nonstick. I'll take the heat off. I think we're going to have just the perfect consistency here. When we get to mashing, take your standard potato masher and just go to town on them beans. As you free the starches from the inside of the beans, you will develop a thicker and thicker paste. And that's your refried beans. Now this part is a little bit easier in a narrower, taller vessel. Which is why I considered doing this in the reverse with the rice. And the canned ones are often mashed to absolute heck. I often just say, good enough, and leave a few bean lumps in our beans. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to call that refried beans, which is not what they're supposed to be called. They're frijoles refritos, which refritos does not mean refried. I believe it means well fried. We're going to set them aside because they are done. Oh, and our chicken's done. Wow, everything's coming together. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I guess that perfect, literal perfect timing. Let's hop over to the, not that one, to this one. Because I'm supposed to quick release chicken. There it goes. Exciting. Oh, that was the perfect timing. Ooh, I can smell the cinnamon and clove this time a lot more strongly. That's interesting. That's interesting. So I've got my salsa. I'm going to, well, I didn't use the bean water at all. I just used regular water. And my consistency is where I want it to be, so I'm just going to ignore the bean water and throw it away. Bean water is one of those things where it's a neat substance. It's got all that dissolved proteins and starches in it. You can do stuff with it, but you can't save it because it has all those dissolved proteins and starches in it. Once you break the seal on your can of beans, bean water is like the primo place for bacteria to grow. We are going to get the beans out of their pan before they stick. Don't worry, we're not quite done yet. I want to use this pan one more time, and there's a little bit more beans stuck on here than I was anticipating because it got away from me. So I am going to clean the pan off real quick while we finish depressurizing. So behold the back of my head. That light on. As I just want flat, hot, not bean-covered surface, because you need to griddle your burritos after you've assembled them so that they stay together. So we're just giving it a fast clean. It's gonna have to get cleaned again anyway, so I'm not gonna bother giving it the full workup. Hopefully that burner is hot enough to help us toast off the extra, and I will turn off my halo. Beans, board, little bowls. Things, tools, stuff. We should probably check on the rice. So let me pop over. Oh, what we absolutely need to do is unlock the chicken, turn off the thing, open it. Because we got to get them out of there. We want all that stuff to cool down as well. Oh, actually, that's right. Okay, I do have to wash the chickeny cutting board, because that's where I need to remove the chickens. And then the whole pot is going to come out of the base, out of the machine. Oh, that was a perfect timing. I can't believe how perfect timing that was. In the moment I said the beans are done, the thing beeped and said it was ready. Okay. Since I need this right away, I'm going to have to actually dry it instead of leaving it to dry. Okay. Not going to be able to see this happening. I guess you're kind of able to see this happening. You're not hot. No, you're cold. I do want to check on the rice real quick before I go on with the chicken, just make sure it's not a disaster in there. It's very soupy. Probably needs to be stirred. So let's do that. I'm worried it might stick at the bottom. Let's use a red spatula. The reason you should use red spatulas is for stuff like this. Red food, especially tomatoey food, the red will stain white spatulas. But it stains the red spatula too, but the red spatula is already red, so you can't see it. Okay. That looks pretty good. I do need to check and see if the rices are cooked. And they are. Okay. Ooh. Got a bite to it. I'm going to leave the lid on. Ooh, it's got a bite to it. I made it spicy. Dang. Dang. Ooh. Okay, pro tip. Cut back on the pepper if you're going to add straight cayenne instead of chili powder. Okay, I got to get these chickens out of this pot. And onto this board without them disintegrating. They actually feel a little bit firm. Hope they shred well. 20 minutes is the time for chicken thighs in the pot, but we probably could have gone a little bit longer just to ensure that they were really fall apart. Okay, they're coming over here because we're going to disassemble them because they got bits in them. The pot part, remember last time we had a hard time blending up the remaining birria. And that was because it was boiling hot and I didn't want to put it in my blender. This time, I'm taking the entire pot out, putting it here, and hopefully we will let it cool down enough that I can get it into the regular old blender and blend it there, because that would be the ideal place to blend it. It's not very deep and it's got a lot of surface area, so in theory this should cool down okay-ish. Our peppers are nice and soft. I do want to retrieve our cinnamon sticks, if I can find them. Ooh, the cinnamon stick appears to have fallen apart, but is still in hard pieces. That's not ideal. There's a part of it. Cinnamon stick chunks. And the bay leaves in here as well. I don't want it to bite into either of those. We might actually strain it when we're done, just... Oop, one of the bay leaves. The bay leaves... Oh, there's the other one. I found both the bay leaves. I was going to say, the bay leaves tend to sink when they're cooked, which makes them hard to find, but I just found both of them in very short order. So I guess don't listen to me. I'm just plain old wrong. Okay, that was easier to find than I expected. Yeah, okay, back over here. Set aside our beans, our salsa, the rice is on the stove. We're working with these guys now. We want... Ooh, everything is spicy today. Everything is spicy today. We want to get the skin off, which I was about to say should be easy because it's cooked, and in fact it just slides right off. The skin might be shreddable, but I want to make sure that it's separated so if I don't want to include it, I don't have to. We could also potentially throw it in the pan to crisp up. If you use skinless chicken, don't do this step because it doesn't have the skins. Chicken skin is not amazing cooked like this. It's kind of flabby, but it's nice to leave it in there when you're rendering out and you're doing all the pressure cook because it's full of fat. A lot of the fat in the chicken is in the skin, and that's a lot of flavor. So it's good to render it out to get all that flavor infused into our stuff. Then we need to get the bones out of these guys, which should be real easy if they are as tender as I expect them to be. And there should just be one big bone right in the middle, And all the stuff should just fall off of it like it has just done. Because all of our connecty bits disintegrate in the heat of the pressure, in the amplified heat of the pressure cooker, and they infuse our sauce with deliciousness. It is hot. It didn't quite cool down in the time that I was fumbling about. But in terms of nicely tenderized chicken, 20 minutes in the cooker is definitely the way to go. We can use this method to easily and quickly produce. I was looking for leftover turkey, not leftover turkey, discount turkey, because it's post-Thanksgiving, so the stores still have a bunch of turkey that didn't sell, because they never sell all of it. They got to make sure they have enough. So they always have a little bit extra, or a lot extra, depending. And I was hoping some of it would show up on discounts now in the post-Thanksgiving world. But no, it's not. And it's disappointing, because I was going to do this with turkey thighs. That needs to be shred chopped. Just gonna rather than individually shred it all apart with my fingers, we're gonna use the knife as a shortcut and just kind of whack through it. Let me take a gander at this skin and see if it's worth it. It breaks easily with a fork. Tastes chickeny. It's very soft. I think if I mince it up really, really fine, it'll go in here and you won't even notice it. I'm going to do that. But I am going to deliberately pulverize it. I hate to discard it because it's certainly edible. It's just a little bit of an odd texture in the big pieces like that. But it's full of flavor. Even rendered out as it is, it's full of flavor. If you don't like chicken skin, you don't like thinking about this, skip this step. Or if you once again had a skinless chicken to begin with, skip this step. But this way, I'm not going to get any chewy bits, but we're going to get all of that flavor in there. And not that it's chewy, it's like very soft. Like I said, I've done this with pork skin. Well, not this specifically. I've cooked pork that had the skin on, and that skin does not become edible in a braise. It becomes awful in a braise. Spatula. We're gonna have to wipe down our countertop here. We got some chicken drippings underneath. Cooked chicken drippings, so we're not like we're dealing with with raw chicken because it's obviously the cooked chicken now. But it got over the side of the board a little bit. I need this workspace to make my burritos. So, nobody said anything about their post-Thanksgivings. I, on a whim, I went to a movie today. Tuesday discounts at the theater. Figured it was a good time as any. Went to just a little bit afternoon matinee of The Marvels, and I thought it was pretty good, honestly. I understand that it's not doing well in the box office, but I don't, other than Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue, I think it's a pretty good movie. I haven't been seeing a lot of the superhero movies lately because there was a lot of superhero fatigue. So maybe I'm just refreshed on them, not tired of them, because I got tired of them a while back and stopped really looking at them. Yeah, there was a handful of people. Not a huge crowd. There was, I don't know, 10 people for a middle of the day matinee. So not too bad, honestly. I thought it was fun. It was I feel like I missed a movie that preceded it. I think Miss Marvel, one of them, had a standalone movie that I did not see. But I didn't feel like I was missing out not having seen it. They did a good job of introducing and establishing the character. That's scraps. Bowl. Are you still blazing hot? No, you're just medium hot. Excellent. That's what we want. Medium hot. Because if it gets to medium, then I can just throw it in the blender. Yeah, okay. I think that's all of our parts, except for the rice, which is still in its pot. How you looking? How you looking, rice? You're looking pretty good. Okay. Okay. And my new camera arrived today, 2 days early. I should probably go get that. I can show it off. I didn't hook it up yet because it only just arrived, and I didn't want to risk it. I mentioned at the very beginning when I went live, I didn't want to risk having something go wrong with it just before going live. So it's not hooked up yet. We're still on the old build here, but it should get hooked up real soon. I don't need this fork for this, and I don't need this spatula for this. Everything needs to be handy. We're gonna make burritos. We've got all the parts. Oh no, we don't have all the parts. We need cheese. There's cheese. Because of course there's cheese. We're also gonna get that pan hot again on its own. Oh, and okay, before I do the burritos, if our juice is cool enough to put my finger in. Are you cool enough to put my finger in? Are you cool enough to put my finger in? You are. Okay, cool. We're gonna blend it. We're gonna blend it real quick in the actual, like, full-size blender. Oh, it tastes so much different. Wow, it tastes really different from last time. Okay. Blender. Stuff. Again, I didn't do this last time because I didn't wait for the thing to cool down. But I should have just waited for it to cool down. I completely blocked the camera just then. That's fine. I'm sure that's fine. But this is the correct tool for doing this in a large quantity, not the stick blender. Okay. It's just that your blender can't handle boiling hot things. Ah, there's our other shard of our cinnamon stick. Those will not piece as well. Those will not blend down properly because even in the pressure cook they're not softened because they're literally bits of wood. Cinnamon is wood. Okay. Puree. I made a big noise. Ooh, the good thing I put the lid on. I was gonna peek. I was gonna leave this little cap off and peek, and then I didn't. And it's a good thing because it would have shot straight up, I guess. There. Oh, damn it! Immediately splattered it onto the counter. There's our juice. I wanted to have the juice done before I started construction because I want to put a little bit of the juice in with the meat. Since otherwise there's not going to be a lot of it inside the burritos. Unplug. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to give a good douse of it into the chickens. And stir them in. We can handle a bit more. It's a fairly thick liquid. Once the peppers are blended into it like that. Okay, that's looking good. It's looking like a pulled chicken. How hot is our... Okay, so fork... Oh, no, still cheese. Got one last thing. The cheese needs to be grated because we've got some more Oaxaca. Oaxaca is the correct cheese for this, as far as I'm concerned. Quote-unquote Mexican cheese often doesn't contain any Mexican types of cheese. It's some kind of blend of cheap cheeses. Colby is not a Mexican cheese and should not be in your Mexican cheese blend. Oaxaca is actually very similar to mozzarella. It's a mild, melty, soft cheese. Which we're going to grate into the little box that comes with the grater to hold stuff, because that's literally what it's for, and I should use it. Angle back slightly so the bits fall. And that should be enough cheese. We don't need a ton of cheese for this. Nope, there's a bunch stuck in the thing as well. Nice. Okay. We're making good time. We're making good time today. I'm pleased. I didn't really want to do a super long one today. And I, thus far, have not. We're going to have to tidy up that cheese. It is so untidy. It's soft enough that it doesn't really scrape along the surface so much as roll. But since I just cleaned my worktop, all that's there is cheese. So I am confident in just hanging on to it. Okay, now we can move on to actual construction. So a burrito shell folds better when it's warm. So I'm just going to use the pan, which has been pre-warming over here. This pan has been warming. I think I'm just going to do that. Let the thing warm up until it starts to do that. I don't want it to sit in there very long. We don't want it to toast, because then it'll start to harden up. We just want it to soften so we can get a nice wrapped fold. Looking good, looking good. Okay, perfect. That's what I was looking for. Now we construct. And you're supposed to load up a burrito. So no skimping. We want it to be bursting at the seams, just barely hold together. This pan is slightly too hot to do what I want to do with it. Beans. Cheese. And our unmixed. Oh, I forgot to check for a lime. I do have a lime. Not too much of this. Okay. Really load the heck out of it. Hope this might actually be too big, but let's find out. You pull it in, you kind of smush it. Then you can give us a roll. Give us a, nope. Tuck in, tuck in, tuck in, tuck and roll, tuck and roll. I said tuck and roll, not flop open and roll. Damn it. It's a burrito. And then we take it right over to our hot griddle. Oh, I just moved. No, don't move. You're supposed to be right where you were. We're popped open on the ends, so this is going to be a weird one. But you just put it on there on a dry griddle. Okay, we're gonna do more than one, of course, because I've got all these ingredients. Now you're not going to be able to see it doing anything over there. We're going to load this one up a little bit less. I think we slightly overshot it. We want it to be bursting at the seams, but you don't want it to actually burst at the seams. I'm not concerned about making extras because make a bit less rice for this one. Extra burritos keep really well. They can be reheated pretty easily. So I'm just going to make a bunch of them in the here and now. Okay, this way. Give us a fold. Give us a tuck. And fold. Beautiful. That one held together much better. I made it noticeably smaller. We're gonna... Ooh, it's too hot. Shoot. Okay, well, we can save it. It's gonna be black on the other side. And the seal's not quite working. So they can't rest in there quite as long as it takes to build the next one. So we burned one of them. We're gonna get out a big plate. So we've burned one already. That's fine. And also this guy's not staying together, which is fine. Okay, he looks okay on the other side. Okay, that one looks fine. The first one was just on there too long. Although I need to now find the midpoint between these two because this one was a little bit too full and that one's a little bit under. So I'm going to wait a moment here, let this guy really get his toast on. Yeah, okay. Before we do the next one. And I'm not going to, you'll notice I did not pre-warm the second tortilla. I think we're just not going to do that. I think that was unnecessary. These are pretty soft. They're pretty new tortillas. Okay. That can't be there. I need to get at that. Okay. Curious how the fresh salsa is gonna come through when I actually eat one of these. Because I don't know that I've had a burrito with fresh salsa in it like this. Okay. Smash it, but then tuck it. I said tuck it. You're gonna kind of get it over itself so that it... There. And that one, I think, is probably my best one of the three so far. There's no obvious gaps. The flap flapped. Get that guy sizzling. We'll get the next one ready. I can at least put a few toppings on it before, or fillings. They're not toppings, they're filling. Well, they're toppings now because they go on top, but then they become fillings. I think this is going to be my last one. I'm just going to save all the rest of my ingredients because I'm out of cheese and I don't really want to grate any more cheese. I knew I would have extra Spanish rice, but as always, is there even really such a thing as extra rice, even when it's pre-flavored like this? I want to taste that by itself too. Okay. Perfect. Now I've probably burned the last one because I went ahead and made the whole thing. So we're gonna quickly get under it, flip it. Ah, it's not burned. Okay, that's gonna be our burritos. We're gonna make 4 burritos. We're gonna have a stack of 3 of them on the plate, and then we're gonna cut one in half for display. Either this one or the one that's upcoming, because I think they are the best looking ones. We need to cut our lime, which will garnish our plate. We need a little bowl of the birria juice for the plate as well. Where did I put? There it is. That knife seems a little dull as well. Okay, some limes and a little pot that is big enough to dunk a burrito end into of our juice. Get this guy off here before he burns. Ooh, he's looking real good. And the last one. Okay. See, I didn't forget the limes this time. I forgot the limes last time. Probably don't need all 6 lime wedges on there. Okay. Arranging the things, arranging the things. Set my limes and knife aside. Set my cheese aside. Check the bottom of our burrito. Looks good. Okay, probably cut that one, the one that's in the pan right now, because the tails are a little bit longer on it, and I think it'll hide those, and I think the one that we just did that's on top looks better as a package. Pile of burritos. I should taste all the individual components separately and comment on them as well. Oh. Let's get my little Birria dipper out in our workstation, or our photo station. Get my camera set up, ready to receive. Okay. Okay. I set the spatula. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna take a peek at the bottom. It's gonna be done. Well, I'm not gonna take a peek at the bottom. I'm just gonna bring it over here. It's gonna be done. And you're perfect. This is the one we're splitting in half. That looks pretty good. We got little green chunks in there. Let's tuck our chicken back in. I should have gotten a bigger plate for this. Who knew that an entire heap of burritos would be so large? Okay, we're gonna go take a photo of this on its crowded plate. Next to its dipper, Birria dipper. And then we'll come back and we'll taste everything. The most exciting part of the night. I can't really see the cheese in my cross section, which is a little unfortunate, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay, let's taste. Let's taste. I think we're going to enjoy it. Definitely want to taste the finished product first before I dive in on the individual parts. We're gonna dip this corner and we're gonna go nuts. Mmm. Mmm. Oh man, that's dangerous. It's rich, it's meaty, it's smoky. Spicy. It's not super hot because all of our ingredients have kind of sat a little bit, but they've been reheated by the by being griddled at the end there, so it's in really just a pleasant temperature all the way through. The filling is largely just flavorful goo. Oh, and there are a few little bits of chicken connector bits, which is going to be the danger if you use chicken thighs, because it's going to be really impossible to get those out of there. But I really appreciate the crunch of the fresh salsa in there. Otherwise, it would just be a goo, which is fine, but having that freshness, that brightness. Brightness is the wrong word. Brightness is what we're going to add with a little bit of lime, which I think it does actually want. The fresh crunch helps give it so it's not just one texture all the way. Mmm. The lime makes it a lot better too. It's significantly less greasy than I think I was expecting. Let's taste the various individual ingredients, because they do all kind of combine into a lovely whole here, but I want to try our various things. Starting with our chicken. We're just going to fish out a nugget here. Oh. The chicken itself is a lot milder than I was expecting. It did not take in a ton of the flavor of our birria. And even with the extra sauce mixed into it, it tastes more like chicken than like the sauce. The sauce, with nothing else on it, is very similar. It's very similar to what we made before. It's lighter. It tastes lighter. It's still smoky and peppery, but I really think the chicken gives it a lighter flavor, and almost chickeny flavor. Yeah. I don't know. It's I can't really taste the chicken in it directly, but it's fruity. It's warm and it's spicy, but it's also got this almost fruitiness to it. It's spicy. I'll give it that. Our beans taste like refried beans. They are mild, creamy, beany. A few little lumps in there, so they're not just completely one note texture. It's really hard to go wrong with refried beans. And the method I used that I showed off today is the method I think you should use if you want refried beans. Unless you want them on like immediate notice, it takes like 10 minutes to make refried beans this way. Let's finally try our rice. Now that's actually really good. It's very tomatoey, but in like a dark, almost toasty way. And that's probably because we dry toasted the rice before we put anything in there. It's got so it's not coming through as toasted rice flavor. It's coming through more like toasted tomato, which is very interesting. I would definitely make that again, and I think that little box is just the right amount of tomato to do this with. We could actually probably cut down the water just a shade. It definitely has a spice to it as well. I think I added too much pepper. So, I think things went a lot more smoothly today than we did with the pork birria, which suggests I did learn some lessons from doing it last time. I think we shot the spicy up quite a few notches this time, though. It's a little punchy. I was very impressed with that rice. It's the first time I've ever made rice that way. I've experimented with making Spanish rice or Mexican rice, whatever you want to call it, before, and not had great luck. So following a recipe step by step helped a lot. Whew, my throat's burning from the spice. Oh, I'm gonna have to get a glass of milk on the side because I overshot a little bit. I think I would. Oh, could you? See, I would worry doing this with chicken breast because chicken breast has so little fat in it to begin with. The fat from the thighs contributes to the unctuousness of everything that's going on in here. That's why you're supposed to use like a chuck or a pork shoulder, something that's tough and connectivey with a lot of fat that can break down, a lot of connectivity things that can break down. So yeah, I guess I'm going to send this off before we completely lose everyone. Since my number has been ticking down steadily since I actually tasted. Let's see who's on. Bunch of people on. Is yet just getting started, perhaps. Yes, he's 4 minutes in. No, no, come on. The Yed. I'm gonna go raid Yed. We're gonna go raid Yed before we lose our last dregs of our people here. Well, I had a good time. It was fun for me revisiting something and seeing how I can improve it. But by the looks of the viewer response, I shouldn't do that very often. But I think we had a really good result, and I've got a bunch of tasty food to eat, so I'm pleased. I guess I'll work on getting that new camera hooked up. Boy, a bunch of stuff. I just need to actually sit down and take the time and get everything set up with the camera and game station, and I've got a painting project. Wait till you see this thing. I gotta find a place to put it for one thing, because it's huge. That'll be a fun project someday. I've got the headset, the earpiece. I haven't got that. Well, it's just a million things. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking with me to the end, the few of you who have done so. And let's all go say hi to Yed, who's getting into space with the Kerbals. Ramble, goodbye.